This is Agriculture Today, and I'm Shelby Varner with the K-State Radio Network. Kicking off today's show is Marissa Kepley, Kansas Farm Service Agency Farm Loan Specialist, with updates and deadline reminders for FSA programs. She also touches on the change in administration. K-State Extension agronomist Logan Simon continues the show, previewing the Great Plains Cotton Conference. He says what information they are bringing to current and prospective cotton growers. The Beef Cattle Institute's Brad White, Bob Larson, Phillip Lancaster, and Brian Lubbers wrap up our Wednesday show with a segment about how to be ready for calving season from their Cattle Chat podcast. That and more is coming up ahead. You're tuned in to Agriculture Today, and we start our Wednesday show hearing from the Kansas Farm Service Agency Farm Loan Specialist, Marissa Kepley. Marissa, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning.
Marissa, beginning our conversation, just giving a general update on the Farm Loan Program.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now we're about 3 months into our fiscal year. So within our agency, our fiscal year runs from October 1st of 2024, and it ends September 30th of 2025. So like I said, we're about 3 months in. This is our annual funding window. That's the period of time that we have to utilize the resources that go along with our program and use up the funds that Congress has allocated to our programs. We've talked before, we've got a couple of different tools in our toolbox that we have here at FSA. One of those being our direct loans. Those are the loans that are fully funded by the U.S. government. They're serviced by our local FSA farm loan staff. So far in Kansas this fiscal year, we have received over 637 applications for direct loan assistance. This is really a significant increase from where we have been compared to at this point in time in years past. Under the program right now, the loans that we've been able to approve out of all of those that we have received, we've obligated just about $28.3 million in direct operating loans and about $61.3 million in what we call direct farm ownership loans. So total for that direct program, in just over 3 months, we're looking at over $89 million worth of assistance for individuals, producers, farmers here in Kansas. The second part of our program that we have to work with is a guaranteed loan program. That we take loans that are made by financial institutions across the state and other states for operators that are operating here in Kansas. And what we do as a federal government is we back those loans. So we come in and kind of take care of those financial institutions in case there is some sort of loss or default on those loans. In Kansas, in the past 3 months, we have looked at about 54 applications for guaranteed assistance and obligation dollars, and that's covering those loan requests. We're looking at about $3.6 million for guaranteed operating loans and $12.9 million for guaranteed farm ownership loans. So in total, just about $16.5 million for that program in itself.
Also wanting to give a quick reminder on the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed in December.
So what we're looking at here, the Inflation Reduction Act has been in place for a couple of years now. Mid-December, we did have another announcement that came out through USDA, and it was posted as a final round of automatic assistance for distressed farm loan borrowers. So prior phases or prior periods of time with the Inflation Reduction Act, nationwide, that program has helped over 47,000 borrowers to the tune of somewhere around $2.5 billion. That's money that's gone directly back into the farming operations or been credited on borrowers' loans to keep those operations going and those families farming. With this final round of assistance, we're looking at, on a nationwide basis, about $300 million that is expected to touch and help about 13,000 direct and guaranteed farm loan borrowers to bring any accounts into a non-past due status. This phase is currently being rolled out. So we just want to encourage, borrowers, especially here in Kansas, if you have any questions about potential eligibility, we just encourage you to reach out to your local farm loan program office to ask to see if you are potentially eligible, or even here at the state office, borrowers can reach out to me if they have questions.
And when we're thinking about borrowing money with the Farm Service Agency, not always thinking about the youth, but there is a youth loan program that comes from FSA.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have youth loans that are available. What those are loans that are made to young individuals who are sponsored by some sort of project advisor. So first thing that comes to mind is your local 4-H clubs, your FFA clubs through school. If we can even assist those involved with tribal organizations or some other ag-affiliated group, what the main purpose of those programs are, it's for those individuals to gain an understanding, financial management, and an opportunity for them to acquire experience and education in agricultural-related areas. Those loans, we recently increased the amount of those loans. They can be made up to $10,000. And those are for individuals between the ages of 10 and 20 years old at the time that their loan is closed.
What can the loans be used for by the youth?
They can be used for the purchase of livestock, to purchase, some small pieces of equipment, if they have bottle-fed calves or feeding, stock tanks, that sort of thing, anything that would really be associated with the project they have in hand. Not only does that loan help them, facilitate the funding of the project itself, but it also gives them the financial responsibility and management skills that they will need later on in life.
Does their parent or guardian have to be involved with the Farm Service Agency, or is this something they can do on their own?
That's something that they can do on their own. They do have to have, like I said, a project advisor, so some sort of adult oversight of the project, and that individual has to sign off on their application, just acknowledging what their plan is for their project and for the funds that they're looking to receive.
There are also some sign-ups that are soon coming to a close that you'd like to remind our listeners about.
Yes, absolutely. So we have on the other side of our agency, we've got the farm programs and then also the price support and conservation divisions. They just wanted us to pass along some important dates to keep in mind. So first thing I want to mention is the dairy margin coverage, or the DMC program. For 2025, sign-up begins on Wednesday, January 29th, and that runs through March 31st of 2025. Then we've got the 2024 what's called the Wool Loan Deficiency Program, or LDP. Actions for that program have to be requested by Friday, January 31st, 2025, so that deadline is coming up real soon. We also have the 2025 program year for what's the ARC and PLC program. Sign up for that program actually began yesterday, Tuesday, January 21st, and that's going to run through April 15th. And then just a couple other general reminders, not necessarily related to FSA programs, but the 21st Annual Women Managing the Farm Conference is going to be coming up here mid-February. It's going to be held in Manhattan, February 13th through the 14th. So anyone interested in attending should go and visit womenmanagingthefarm.com to get some additional details and then register for the conference if they'd like to attend. FSA always has a presence at those meetings, so we just want to make sure that those are publicized. And then the last thing, as far as reminders, the Price Support and Conservation Division is expecting that there will be a general CRP sign-up and grassland CRP sign-up announced here soon.
Wonderful. Marissa, as we conclude today's conversation, wanting to make the note with the change of administration in our government, you have seen some changes with the Farm Service Agency administration as well. Yes,
yeah. So when we have a change in administration, we will have appointment of new personnel here in Kansas, specifically the state executive director. That position is appointed position that is designated by the president. So hopefully soon here we will be seeing where President Trump steps in and suggests or appoints somebody for new leadership here in Kansas. Right now we do have what's called a deputy state executive director that is servicing in the interim capacity to fill that role.
How long have you seen it take for a new state executive director to be appointed and start with the Farm Service Agency?
Sure. Sometimes that does take quite a while. Optimistic, we would probably be looking at maybe 8 to 9 months. We would have a new body in place, but it could take longer than that. Just kind of depends on those appointments and how quickly they move through the system.
And as always, if people want to find more information from the Farm Service Agency or have questions, how can they get that taken care of?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always contact our local offices, giving them a call, stopping in, or we do also have the ability or the technological service online. Farmers.gov, that's a one-stop shop. If producers want to check in there, that site does provide a lot of information on our programs, either on the farm program, price support conservation side, and as well as the loan side. It provides important deadlines for sign-up, so if you didn't get those jotted down when I rambled off earlier, definitely check Farmers.gov for those. And like I said, that site can give you a lot of information about our programs that we have available.
Marissa, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Kansas Farm Service Agency Farm Loan Specialist Marissa Kepley. As always, you can find out more information from the Farm Service Agency by visiting your local service center or by going online to Farmers.gov. As Marissa mentioned, the Women Managing the Farm Conference is coming up February 13th through the 14th. You can find more information by going to womenmanagingthefarm.com. I will link these resources in today's show notes on agtoday.net. We're cutting to a short break now, but we'll be right back. You're tuned in to Agriculture Today, and we continue our show talking about the 6th Annual Great Plains Cotton Conference happening February 7th with K-State Extension agronomist Logan Simon. Logan, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, Shelby.
Logan, what is the Great Plains Cotton Conference?
Yeah, so the Great Plains Cotton Conference, as you said, this is our 6th annual conference, is a producer meeting that is jointly held by the Kansas Cotton Association, Cotton Incorporated, and Kansas State University. We hold this meeting annually to bring the most current information and updates on cotton and the Kansas cotton industry to our producers here in the state.
Who are some of the speakers on the schedule for this?
Yes, so we have a really strong lineup again this year, including some talks from Taz Smith with the National Cotton Council, talking about some policy updates and the Cotton Trust Protocol, as well as John Wanjura of the USDA ARS in Lubbock, talking about some harvest practices and maximizing the value of that cotton. And I'll also be speaking in the morning to provide some updates on some agronomic management considerations for our Kansas cotton producers.
Logan, can you give us a little bit of a preview of what might be included in your presentation?
Yeah, so right now the presentation that I'll be bringing to the conference is going to be talking about some work we've been doing out here at the Southwest Research Extension Center in Garden City, looking at a variety of agronomic practices in cotton production, things from variety selection to planting day, seeding rate, and a little bit of irrigation management as well. So really excited to share some of our findings from that research with our producers at this conference.
And the speaker that's coming after you, another person with Kansas State University.
Yes, we are delighted to hear our insect scouting and management options update from Anthony Zukoff, our KSU entomologist, also here at the Southwest Research Extension Center. We are also going to get to see an update from our friend from across the border, Jenny Dudak, the cotton specialist for Oklahoma State University, sharing her update on harvest day decisions and applications that our cotton producers are having to make to optimize yield and quality. So really pleased to have Jenny on the lineup as well.
And someone we often hear from on Agriculture Today, also presenting at the Cotton Conference.
Yes, we have Sarah Lancaster, our K-State weed specialist, who and a annual feature of the Great Plains Cotton Conference, giving an update on weed management and herbicide resistance in cotton. So always a pressing topic for our cotton producers, especially as we think about the importance of weed control, not just for yield in cotton, but also quality of that lint as we're going out there at the end of the season.
Who is presenting after her, Logan?
Yes, so our next couple of presenters are going to be Bailey Tomlin from Cotton Risk Management Consultant with StoneX Financial, giving us some cotton marketing updates. We'll also we will be ending our conference with a panel discussion focused on cotton marketing for 2025. And it sounds like some of that might be a little bit open still, but we will be hearing from some of our folks from Cargill, as well as the Plains Cotton Cooperative Association, our marketing pool for cotton in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas.
When does this day get started?
We'll be kicking things off with registration at 7:30. This is also going to be a great opportunity for folks to see some of the latest from our sponsors' booths. We've got a number of sponsors, as always, for the Cotton Conference. Kicks off again at 7:30 with registration. Speakers will begin at 8 o'clock, but we hope to have the whole conference wrapped up by 4 o'clock.
Is lunch provided at the conference?
Absolutely. Lunch is provided at this conference. In between our presenters, Jenny Dudak of Oklahoma State University and Sarah Lancaster of K-State, and that will be sponsored by Phytogen.
Is there also an event that's taking place the night before?
Yes. For folks that have attended the Great Plains Cotton Conference before, we usually like to have a little reception the night before. And so proceeding before the conference on February 7th, we will be having a kind of a Thursday night happy hour on February the 6th, starting at 5:30. And this is going to be down at 12 Restaurant and Bar at 111 West Maple Street there in Wichita.
Logan, who do you recommend take the time to attend this conference?
Honestly, this conference is meant for a really wide audience. Whether you are a producer who has been at the forefront, one of the first cotton producers in Kansas, or if you're just playing around with the idea, the potential for cotton on your operation, this is a fantastic opportunity to come out and learn about the industry, and especially get that very Kansas-focused information. Great opportunity for any crop consultants as well who might be working in cotton and wanting to get a little bit more familiar with the crop as they're working to support their producers. I do believe that we will have some credits associated with this. We usually do have credits associated with this conference, including both CCA credits as well as pesticide applicator credits as well. So that can also be a good draw for some of our producers and our consultants and applicators.
Well, obviously you mentioned Kansas focus, but other people, if they're a little outside of Kansas, welcome to attend as well.
100%, especially our friends across the border in Oklahoma, our strong partners in cotton this far north. But then too, great opportunity depending on how far you want to drive. I was pleased this past summer to meet one producer who was growing cotton in southeast Colorado. Talk about some high elevation, short growing season cotton production. This meeting is most certainly open to anyone and everyone interested in cotton.
Logan, can you remind us of the details for the Great Plains Cotton Conference?
100%. So again, our 6th annual Great Plains Cotton Conference is to be held on February 7th at the Sedgwick County Extension Complex at 7001 West 21st Street in Wichita. We'll be beginning, registration begins at 7:30, speakers at 8, and we'll conclude at 4. Lunch provided.
For people who would like to attend, do they need to RSVP or register?
No registration requirement. All are welcome. So feel free to come and join us. No registration.
Any cost for the event?
Absolutely no cost. Absolutely no cost. So there will be no financial limitation to your access to cotton information and knowledge.
If people are wanting to find out more information, how can they do that?
Feel free to contact your extension office. They will be able to bring you some more information. You can also contact me directly. Again, Logan Simon, Southwest Area Agronomist, at my email, LSIMON at ksu.edu, or you can call as well at 217-617-0290.
Logan, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
That was K-State Extension agronomist Logan Simon discussing the 6th Annual Great Plains Cotton Conference happening February 7th at the Sedgwick County Extension Complex. As a reminder, this conference is free to attend and no RSVP is needed. I will link Logan's contact information in today's show notes on acttoday.net. Before we cut to a break, we're now going to be joined by USDA's Rod Bain and NASA's Brad Dorn.
Perhaps most of us are unaware just how connected the Agriculture Department is with the federal agency associated with space exploration and travel.
We look at the Earth as like a living organism, and we need to monitor it and understand what changes are occurring, what are the causes of those changes.
Brad Dorn of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration has USDA connections, previously serving in the Foreign Agricultural Service.
I supported the integrating satellite data into the WASDE process.
USDA's monthly World Agricultural Supply and Demand Estimates, in which various information resources such as satellite and weather imagery, field observations, and government data are used to come up with forecasts and estimates of major crops from across the globe. So what are some examples of USDA-NASA collaboration? Dorn says one involves the U.S. Drought Monitor.
Through our climate sensors, we're able now to understand groundwater changes much more effectively than we ever have in the past. We now provide a data product from our Goddard Space Flight Center to the U.S. Drought Monitor that provides, at the same time step as the U.S. Drought Monitor on a weekly basis, groundwater, root zone soil moisture, and surface soil moisture products for the entire nation.
NASA's GRACE Climate Satellite provides soil moisture information to users, from USDA to farm media outlets. NASA also provides open access software to technological products based on satellite data for use in various applications, including agriculture on Earth. For example,
our OpenET product that we work with irrigation managers that really helps us understand water use so that a farmer or irrigation district manager can look and input this product into their own irrigation management system and help them produce water supply information or water demand information on their crop that they've never had in the past.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
We're cutting to a short break now on Agriculture Today, but stick around because we have more for you up ahead.
You're tuned into Agriculture Today. I'm Jacob Cloughton for Shelby Varner, and we end today's show with part of the Beef Cattle Institute's Cattle Chat podcast with Brad White, Bob Larson, Phillip Lancaster, and Brian Lubbers.
The next thing I would like to discuss, guys, we're coming up on calving season. We've got a lot of operations that will have cows in their third trimester that will start calving in the next month or two. So what should I be doing at this point to prepare for calving, or what are some of the things that I should be thinking about? Because we've kind of been on autopilot with those cows in their mid-gestation. And Bob, I'm going to start with you. What's one thing that you're thinking about at this point?
Well, there's two big areas. One is body condition nutrition of the cows, but I'm going to leave that to Phillip. The other one is the environment where the cows are going to be calving. So they need a good, clean, dry environment. It's really important that those calves get off to a good start by being calved in a place where they're going to thrive. My favorite place is on grass. So although we won't have growing grass, what I want is good turf, so it's not mud, out where that they can find some protection, and be prepared to do that. So it might be have calving pastures that are different than your winter feeding area. That allows you to put cows out to a clean area right when they're ready to calve. And those are the types of things I want to be ready for now. And so that means making sure that the water is ready, making sure that the fences are ready, basically that we have a good place to go once the calves start hitting the ground.
Absolutely. And Mother Nature can be unpredictable. So the one thing I might add to yours is have a good place to go and a backup. because we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Phillip?
Yeah, so as Bob mentioned, body condition is probably one of the key things from a nutrition standpoint here as we're going into this last couple of months of gestation. We want those cows to calve in a good body condition score, somewhere 5 to 6. And if they're still a little thin, it's not impossible, but it is going to be a little bit difficult. But I got to get them up to a good body condition score here before they start calving.
Way easier now than after they calve.
Yes, yeah, that is true. Because what I really want is them to be in a good body condition when they start the breeding season. And so that time period between calving and breeding is nearly impossible to put body condition score on a cow, at least economically. And so we want to do that before she calves.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian?
So I think colostrum management is going to be a big thing too. So in some places may have already started calving at this point. And so when I prefer the actual colostrum as opposed to a colostrum supplement. So some of those first calvings, if you're able to collect some extra colostrum and freeze it back, that's really is your best option. So a little bit of planning, like you said, if it's a mature cow that you think probably has good quality colostrum, collect a little bit extra. The next step would be go ahead and test it to make sure it's good quality colostrum. But then, having kind of a plan of how you're going to do that, collection as clean, almost as aseptic as possible is a good basic kind of overlying criteria, and then get it cooled and frozen as quickly as possible so that you've got it available. It might be tomorrow, it might be a few weeks, it might be a few months from now, but you've got that ready, and then a plan for how you're going to pull that out, thaw it, and deliver it when you need it.
Spoken like a guy who goes to the ranch rodeo and participates in the wild cow milking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go out and milk those cows.
And
All right.
I agree that's the ideal. But I'd want to back up, and one of the is some of the powdered products. And the main place I'm going to use colostrum supplementation on a beef herd is anytime I'm assisting the cow. So a C-section cow, a difficult pull, those types of things. In general, if the cow has the calf without any problems, I'm not going to intervene. But it is really good to have that, and now is the time to think about that. Don't wait till you need products like that to have on hand. Have some stockpiled and ready to go. So be prepared to have the knowledge. But basically, you need a good clean area to catch the cattle that need assistance, and calving chains or calving straps, some knowledge, lube, clean sleeves, those types of things, and your veterinarian's phone number.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things you guys emphasized is we're thinking about it before we need to, and we're going to have a backup plan.
That's all we have for now on Agriculture Today, but we'll be back with more for you tomorrow.